Beloved seeker, the universe is ever watchful, waiting for the word you speak, for in the beginning was the Word, and the Word still creates. Every vibration that leaves your lips becomes law unto your life, drawing unto you its likeness. If you speak of lack, lack hastens toward you. If you speak of fear, fear rises to meet you. Yet if you speak words of abundance, faith and divine command, then the floodgates of supply open, and money flows like a mighty river, swift and unstoppable. Man is not a victim of chance, nor a prisoner of circumstance. He is a vessel of infinite intelligence, and his tongue is the key that unlocks the storehouse of riches. To declare with certainty is to plant seeds in the unseen, seeds that cannot help but break forth in due season. The world teaches toil, struggle, and striving for gain, but the higher law whispers, speak, and it shall be done. Call, and it shall answer. Declare, and it shall appear. You stand now at the threshold of revelation. Hidden within simple words lies a power beyond measure, a power to summon money, not as a master groveling before fortune, but as a divine heir claiming inheritance. Money is not wicked, nor is it scarce. It is substance in motion, divine energy clothed in paper and coin. It hastens to the one who calls it rightly, who names it with conviction and love. Just as a shepherd calls his flock and they answer, so too does wealth answer when you use the words of command. For centuries, sages have spoken in parables and symbols, guarding the mysteries of speech. They knew that careless words are snares, and idle words scatter riches to the winds. But they also knew that deliberate words, charged with faith, set unseen forces to work instantly. The universe bends to the tone of your decree, just as a harp string vibrates to the touch of a skilled hand. What you speak with unwavering belief becomes flesh, becomes form, becomes gold in the hand and plenty in the purse. The mind may doubt, the senses may deny, but spirit does not waver. Spirit responds only to the vibration of your word. When you say the right words, the exact words, you align with the law of supply. You become like a magnet, drawing from every direction, every channel, and every hidden place. Doors open of themselves. Strangers become helpers, and opportunities rise like the sun after a long night. Beloved, it is not labor that makes you rich. It is right word, spoken in faith. One declaration made in the authority of spirit outweighs months of struggle. You need not chase money, you need only call it, and it comes swiftly, joyfully, abundantly. As surely as the seed obeys the law of growth, so does money obey the law of the spoken word. The word is law. From the dawn of creation, it has been spoken in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word carried within it the seed of every manifestation, every form, every unfolding of the visible world. Words are not idle sounds, nor passing breath, they are charged currents of energy, clothed in vibration, alive with creative essence. When one understands that every word spoken carries with it the authority of law, then life is no longer left to chance, but molded by decree. Every utterance sets forth a command, and that command is obeyed by the unseen forces of the universe. Man walks daily among his own words, seeing before his eyes the harvest of yesterday's speech. If he complains of lack, his life answers in kind with want. If he affirms sickness, his body reflects the affliction. If he declares failure, opportunities shrink away. Yet if he fills his mouth with words of health, abundance, and triumph, the whole current of his affairs changes, for law knows no partiality, it merely echoes back the tone that was sent forth. The law is impersonal, exact, and unfailing. It does not stop to question whether a word is spoken in jest or in earnest. It takes the vibration as seed and brings it to life. The careless word, the hasty remark, the bitter complaint, all are creative forces released into motion, and they return multiplied to the one who sent them. The power of speech is so absolute that even idle words gather form. Many speak thoughtlessly, unaware that each syllable carries creative potency. To say "I am poor" is to command poverty. To declare, "I never have enough," is to write law upon the substance of the universe that shortage must forever pursue you. Every "I am" is a decree. Every statement of self is a blueprint handed to the invisible architect of life. The word, is the spark of divinity, and whatever follows after it is written into your destiny. When a man says, I am weak, he has chained himself to weakness. When he says, I am strong, unseen forces rise to clothe him with strength. The word is law. The great secret is that words once spoken do not vanish into air but move into substance, becoming thought, forms clothed in living vibration. These vibrations gather to themselves material of their kind, drawing circumstances, people, and conditions that match their tone. A spoken word is like a magnet thrown into the field of infinite substance, and everything of like vibration rushes toward it. Thus, to say, I prosper, is to set in motion hosts of forces that bring prosperity. To say, I fail, is to call forth unseen powers that ensure failure. The mouth is the gate of destiny, the tongue the key that opens or shuts the storehouse of supply. All scripture, all sacred teaching, all ancient wisdom has whispered this truth. By your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned. Nothing comes unbidden. Nothing appears without its command, for every event in a man's life is tied to the words he has sown. Some reap in sorrow because their lips have been fountains of fear. Others reap in joy because their speech has been filled with faith. The law is never broken, it is never absent, it never sleeps. To see the word as law is to become conscious of every utterance. One begins to listen to oneself, to guard the tongue as a treasure chest, to refuse speech that breeds poverty or disease. Words of anger are recognized as seeds of destruction, words of love as seeds of harmony, words of strength as seeds of dominion. The wise man speaks little, for he knows that each syllable is a decree. He does not trifle with careless jest about lack, misfortune, or despair, for he knows the law does not laugh, it creates. The vibratory power of words reaches far beyond the ear. When a word is spoken, it reverberates in the unseen realm, echoing in the ethers, inscribing itself upon the invisible substance from which all forms are shaped. Every affirmation, every denial, every statement of truth or error moves outward and downward until it takes form. Just as a seed planted in the soil cannot help but bring forth its likeness, so too does the spoken word, once planted in the soil of spirit, bring forth its likeness in time and space. This is why the wise declare boldly what they desire, for they know the law cannot fail. They do not beg. They do not plead. They do not wonder if their words will be heard. They know their words are law. It is not enough to think lightly of things and then speak against them. Thought is the beginning of creation, but the spoken word gives it power, clothing, and form. Thought is like a spark, word is the flame that leaps forth and consumes the substance of matter. To say, I think abundance, is good, but to declare, I am abundant is law. To silently imagine health is useful, but to speak, I am whole, is decree. The law moves swiftly on the spoken word, for vibration is set free in sound, and sound is the very language of creation. The word is law not only in the grand declarations of desire, but also in the daily speech of ordinary life. Every complaint about the weather, every fretful word about money, every harsh remark about another is a seed sown. Life has no favorites. It merely mirrors what is spoken. One who continually says, nothing ever works for me, lives in that reflection. Another who continually says, everything I touch prospers, walks in that harvest. The world is an echo chamber of words, and each man lives within the echo of his own speech. When one awakens to this truth, he no longer speaks of things as they appear but as they are decreed. He no longer says, I am ill, even if the body feels weak. He says, I am whole, and the body must obey. He no longer says, I am in want, even if the purse is empty. He says, I am supplied, and money finds its way. He no longer says, I am afraid, even if the shadows loom large. He says, I am fearless, and the shadows flee. For the word does not wait for evidence, it creates evidence. The law does not depend on sight, it depends on sound. Once spoken, the decree moves forward with certainty, bending circumstances, aligning events, arranging all things to fulfill the command. The word is law, and the one who knows this walks in mastery. He watches his words as a king watches his treasures. He guards his speech as a gardener guards his seeds. He sows deliberately, joyfully, purposefully. And what he sows, he surely reaps, for the word never returns void. It fulfills the law under which it was spoken, bringing forth after its kind, manifesting in form and substance, in reality. Money is divine energy. It is not mere paper, not metal stamped with figures, not digits written in ledgers. These are but its shadows, its outer garments, its passing masks. Behind every coin and bill is the pulse of spirit, the movement of life's endless current, flowing without limit, circulating through every channel, rising and falling, yet never ceasing. Money, in its essence, is energy clothed in visible form, energy that obeys law, energy that responds to vibration, energy that gathers wherever it is invited with love and spoken command. The world often misnames money, calling it evil, scarce, or hard to earn. But to those who see with the eye of spirit, money is none of these things. It is divine in origin, for nothing exists outside the source. If the mountains and the seas are divine, if the stars and the flowers are divine, then so too is money divine, for it is substance, and all substance flows from the same infinite. The mistaken belief that money is wicked drives it away, while the recognition that money is a holy servant draws it near. The one who despises money finds his purse empty, while the one who blesses money finds it multiplying. Money is divine energy, and like all energy, it must move. It cannot be hoarded without loss. It cannot be feared without retreat. It cannot be chained without decay. Energy is circulation, and circulation is life. Just as the blood moves through the body to bring strength and health, so money moves through the affairs of man to bring opportunity, freedom, and joy. To stop the flow is to invite stagnation. To release it with faith is to invite increase. He who gives with love sets the current moving toward him, while he who clutches in fear dams the stream. The measure shrivels, not because money is absent, but because the divine energy of money has been denied its nature, which is circulation. Money comes not by struggle but by vibration. The one who believes money is scarce vibrates scarcity and draws want. The one who knows money as divine energy vibrates abundance and draws supply. Energy responds only to energy, like attracts like. The thought of plenty gathers plenty, the thought of lack gathers lack. The man who says, "There is never enough money," writes law upon his life and money flows away. The man who says, "Money flows to me freely and joyfully," writes a different law, and energy obeys, rushing to fill his word. The substance of money is not separate from thought and speech. It is their companion, their reflection, their obedient servant. This divine energy of money is everywhere present. It hides in the work you do, in the people you meet, in the opportunities that cross your path, in the ideas that flash into your mind. It is carried on the air, waiting for a channel, waiting for an opening, waiting for a decree. Many walk in poverty not because supply is absent, but because they have closed the door of reception. They have spoken words of lack, words of fear, words of unworthiness, and the divine energy of money has passed them by, seeking an open channel elsewhere. But when a man knows himself as heir to the infinite, when he declares, "I am one with abundance. I am open to receive," the flow of money hastens toward him, drawn by the law of vibration, compelled by the certainty of his decree. Money, being divine energy, carries consciousness. It reflects the spirit in which it is held and used. Money held in fear breeds more fear. Money used with resentment breeds bitterness. But money received with joy, given with love, and circulated with faith multiplies itself. Just as a seed planted in good soil multiplies into a harvest, so money, when sown into life with gladness, returns in multiplied form. The soil is not in the earth alone, it is in the consciousness of man. One who sees money as divine energy plants it in fertile soil. One who sees it as hard, scarce, or sinful plants it in barren ground. The harvest cannot fail to reflect the seed and the soil. Money is energy, and energy takes the shape of the vessel into which it is poured. If one holds a thimble, he will draw but a thimbleful. If one holds a barrel, he will draw a barrelful. The vessel is belief, and belief expands or contracts the flow. To say, "I only need a little," is to present a small vessel, and the flow fills it accordingly. To say, I receive without limit from the infinite, is to present a vessel without measure, and the flow rushes to fill it. The universe does not ration its energy, it is man who measures it by his faith. Money as divine energy does not belong to one alone but belongs to all. It is infinite in its circulation, inexhaustible in its supply. When one prospers, another is not robbed. When one receives, another is not denied. The law of increase governs all divine energy. To the one who uses it rightly, more is given. To the one who buries it in fear, even that which he has slips away. To rejoice in another's wealth is to align with wealth. To envy another's prosperity is to shut the door to your own. For energy responds to vibration, and envy is a vibration of lack, while rejoicing is a vibration of abundance. There is no place where divine energy is not, even in the desert of poverty. The spring of supply lies hidden, waiting for the decree. Even in the darkest hour, the channel can open in an instant when the word is spoken in faith. Money does not come from man, though man may be the channel. It comes from the infinite, moving through unseen avenues, taking form as needed, changing shape as demanded. One may lose a job and fear the loss of supply, but the energy of money is not bound to any one channel. It flows from countless directions, answering the vibration of the word, manifesting through unexpected means. To know money as divine energy is to live without fear of loss. For energy cannot be destroyed, it can only change form. Money may leave one channel, but it will return by another. Money may diminish in one purse, but it increases in another place, ready to be called forth again. Fear of loss binds the flow, faith in the eternal energy releases it. The man who says, though this purse be empty, the infinite supply is full, has grasped the truth of money as divine energy, and his supply must return. Money is divine energy, ever flowing, ever circulating, ever responsive. It is never truly absent, never truly lacking, never truly limited. It waits for recognition, for declaration, for alignment. It waits for man to rise above fear and claim it as the servant of spirit, the expression of divine substance. The flowing current of supply. Exact words unlock supply. Words are not vague symbols, they are keys, and each key opens a door into substance. The universe is filled with infinite treasures, yet the treasures are not scattered carelessly. They are locked in chambers of vibration, and each chamber responds to a precise word of command. To speak without intention is to wander with keys that do not fit, fumbling before doors that remain shut. But to speak the exact words with faith is to place the right key in the lock and hear the click of release. As the door swings wide and the hidden storehouse of supply is revealed, the great law does not respond to many words, nor to idle phrases, nor to pleas born of fear. It responds to words exact in tone, exact in faith, exact in alignment with divine truth. A man may shout 1,000 words of worry, and nothing changes, but one clear decree spoken in the authority of spirit moves the unseen world. This is why the sages spoke little, why the masters of wisdom uttered only what was necessary. They knew that words carry weight, and that the precise word is sharper than the sword, breaking through resistance, cutting down obstacles, commanding supply to appear. Exact words are not chosen by the intellect alone. They rise from the inner knowing, from the spirit that speaks truth within. The outer mind may guess, may wonder, may repeat empty affirmations without faith, but the inner spirit knows the decree that aligns with law. To discover exact words is to listen within, to still the chatter of doubt, and hear the word of power that spirit speaks through the heart. When these words are spoken aloud, clothed in vibration, they move like lightning through the unseen, striking open the vaults of supply. Every manifestation answers to its own vibration, and words are the vessels of vibration. To call health, one must speak the exact words that carry health. To call money, one must speak the exact words that carry abundance. General speech scatters energy. Exact words concentrate it. A beam of sunlight diffused warms the air, but focused through a lens it burns through steel. So it is with words. Scattered speech produces little, exact speech pierces through matter and compels results. Those who speak with vagueness live in vagueness. They say, I wish for more, and the wish drifts away unanswered. They say, I hope things improve, and hope remains an echo without form. But those who speak with exact decree live in clarity. They say, I receive money now, and the law stirs to move money into their hands. They say, I walk in abundance, and abundance hastens to surround them. They do not beg, they do not wait for tomorrow, they declare with precision, and the law answers with precision. The universe is exact, never careless, never uncertain. The stars keep their courses, the tides obey their rhythm. The seed brings forth after its kind. So too does the law of supply move with exactness. It does not answer confusion with clarity. It does not answer weakness with strength. It answers exact decree with exact manifestation. If one declares, I am always short of money, the law answers with shortage. If one declares, money flows to me in abundance, the law answers with supply. It cannot answer otherwise, for it is exact in its response. The power of exact words lies not only in the choice of phrase, but in the spirit of certainty with which they are spoken. A decree muttered in doubt is like a key turned halfway in the lock. It does not open the door. A decree spoken in confidence, in conviction, in unwavering faith, is a key turned fully, releasing the bolt, opening the chamber. The vibration of certainty clothes the words with authority, and authority compels obedience. The unseen does not resist authority, it moves swiftly to fulfill it. Exact words are like commands to servants. The infinite is abundant, but it waits for instruction. Just as a servant cannot act without orders, supply cannot move without decree. To say, bring me what is good, leaves the servant uncertain. But to say, bring me the gold cup from the table, is to give an exact command, and the servant moves at once. So too with words. The decree must be specific, must carry direction, must leave no doubt. The law is impersonal and unfailing, but it requires exact instruction to release exact supply. Those who fear speaking exact words delay their good. They hesitate, thinking it bold to declare, thinking it pride to command. But humility in spirit is not weakness, it is recognition of truth. To speak exact words is not arrogance, it is obedience to law. The infinite has placed the power of speech in man's mouth, and to use it rightly is to align with divine will. To refuse to speak, to shrink from decree, is to turn from inheritance and remain in want. Exact words are not inventions of man, they are gifts of spirit, waiting to be spoken into life. Exact words do not struggle with conditions. They override them. One may look at an empty purse and say, I have no money, and the law will hold the purse empty. But if he looks at the same purse and declares, I am supplied in abundance now, the decree overrides the appearance, and money is drawn forth to fill it. The law does not bind itself to what appears, it binds itself to the spoken decree. The exact word has more power than sight, more power than circumstance, more power than history. When exact words are spoken, channels open in ways the intellect cannot plan. Money may appear through unexpected opportunities, through gifts, through ideas, through sudden changes in fortune. But the form is not the concern of the decree. The form is the work of the law. The decree must remain exact in essence. I receive supply, I receive abundance. I receive money now. This essence holds the vibration that unlocks the chambers, and the law fulfills it in its own perfect manner. Exact words are never bound by time. To say, someday I will prosper, places prosperity always in the future. To say, I prosper now, places prosperity in the present, and the present is the only place where law acts. The vibration of no is the vibration of manifestation. The vibration of someday is the vibration of delay. Exact words carry the vibration of immediacy, of certainty, of presence. They do not waver, they do not postpone. They declare the fulfillment as already complete, and so it becomes. Every man and woman holds in the mouth the keys to fortune. Some wander with the wrong words, speaking of want, speaking of fear, speaking of endless striving, and the doors of supply remain shut. Others find the exact words, speak them with authority, and the doors swing wide, revealing treasures beyond measure. The keys are simple. but they require courage to use, for to speak exact words is to declare dominion, to claim inheritance, to stand as heir of the infinite. The timid whisper and receive little, the bold decree and receive much. Exact words unlock supply, because they align speech with the eternal pattern of abundance. The pattern is already established in the infinite. The decree simply calls it forth into form. To declare with precision is to tune one's word to the frequency of abundance, just as a musician tunes an instrument to the right note. Once tuned, the vibration harmonizes with the law, and the law responds in perfect accord. The decree and the manifestation are but two sides of the same coin, one spoken, the other revealed. Faith charges speech. Words in themselves are vessels, but it is faith that fills them with power. A phrase repeated without belief is an empty shell, a hollow sound that drifts into silence. But a word spoken with faith carries a current, a spark, a force that moves unseen energies into motion. Faith is the living electricity behind the spoken decree. Without it, words fall lifeless to the ground. With it, words rise like arrows of fire, piercing through resistance, summoning supply, commanding reality to conform. The law of the universe responds not to the tone of fear or doubt, but to the certainty of faith. When one speaks in trembling, saying, "I hope this works, I wish this comes," the law does not stir, for it recognizes no wavering command. But when one speaks with unwavering assurance, saying, "It is done, it is mine, it comes now," the law bends at once to fulfill the decree. Faith clothes words with authority. Faith gives voice the resonance that reaches into the invisible. Faith is the difference between idle chatter and creative command. Faith is not a mental guess, nor a fragile hope, nor a fleeting wish. Faith is inner knowing, the deep conviction that the unseen is already real, that the word spoken is already fulfilled, that substance is already shaped into form. Faith is the hand that reaches into the invisible and draws it forth. When words are charged with this certainty, they move as law. To say, "I prosper," without faith is to speak words of dust. To say, "I prosper," with faith is to decree abundance into form. The words may be the same, but the power is worlds apart, for faith is the current that animates the phrase. Faith is the unseen fire in the heart that ignites the spoken decree. Without fire, wood remains cold. With fire, wood bursts into flame. Without faith, words remain sound. With faith, words blaze with creative force. A man may memorize 1,000 affirmations, but if they are spoken in doubt, they bring no harvest. Another may speak a single word, but if it is spoken with faith, the harvest is sure and swift. Faith is not measured by length of prayer or frequency of repetition, it is measured by the strength of conviction. The one who knows that his word is law does not need to repeat endlessly, he speaks once in faith, and the law obeys. Faith transforms the vibration of speech. Doubt trembles, faith resonates. Fear quivers, faith thunders. Words spoken in fear are weak notes in the symphony of creation, drowned out by stronger tones. Words spoken in faith ring clear, commanding the whole orchestra of the unseen to play in harmony. The universe recognizes the vibration of faith as the signature of divine authority, and it responds without delay. Just as a tuning fork set in motion causes another of the same pitch to vibrate, so words charged with faith cause supply to vibrate into manifestation. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It does not wait for appearances, it does not require proof, it does not demand signs. Faith declares the unseen as already here, and in that declaration, the unseen becomes visible. To say, "I am supplied," while the purse is empty is faith. To say, "I am healed," while the body aches is faith. To say, "I prosper now," while the bank is barren, is faith. The words may seem to deny the senses, but faith knows that spirit governs matter. That word governs form, that decree governs manifestation. Faith does not lie, it speaks from the higher truth, and the higher truth reshapes the lower. Faith is the magnetism that draws substance to the decree. Words alone may strike the air, but faith-laden words draw currents of power, pulling opportunities, people, and circumstances into alignment. Faith is not passive, it is active, creative, magnetic. The man who speaks with faith sets invisible forces to work instantly, gathering the scattered elements of his desire into form. The law is swift when faith is strong. The delay is never in the infinite, but in the wavering of belief. Faith is exercised in the unseen, but it reveals itself in speech. One can hear the difference in tone between doubt and certainty. Doubt asks, faith declares. Doubt pleads. Faith commands, doubt waits, faith receives. The mouth that speaks in faith speaks as heir, as master, as one who knows the inheritance is secure. The mouth that speaks in doubt speaks as beggar, as orphan, as one uncertain of his right. The law answers not to begging, but to authority. And authority is born of faith. Faith cannot be borrowed, nor can it be faked. It must rise from within, from the alignment of thought, word, and spirit. To speak with faith, one must see beyond appearances, must believe in the unseen, must anchor in the certainty of divine supply. Faith is not built in a day but cultivated, strengthened each time words are spoken and fulfilled. Every answered decree strengthens faith. Every demonstration proves the law, every manifestation builds conviction. As faith grows, words carry greater and greater power, until even the smallest decree manifests with ease. Faith charges speech in the moment it is spoken. One may prepare the mind, steady the heart, align with spirit, but it is the instant of utterance that determines the current. If in that moment the word is spoken with full assurance, the law moves. If in that moment the word is spoken with hesitation, the law waits. Faith is the trigger, the spark, the release. Just as a switch closes the circuit and sends electricity flowing into a lamp, faith closes the circuit of the decree and sends power flowing into manifestation. Faith is not limited by circumstance. The outer world may appear barren, but faith is not shaken. Faith does not consult appearances before it speaks. Faith declares what is true in spirit and knows that spirit will override matter. When the outer world cries lack, faith declares abundance. When the outer world cries failure, faith declares victory. When the outer world cries impossibility, faith declares all things possible. Words charged with this unwavering faith carry a vibration that no resistance can withstand, for they are aligned with eternal law. Faith grows by use, just as a muscle strengthens with exercise. Each time one speaks with faith and sees the decree fulfilled, the conviction deepens, and the next word is charged with greater force. The timid may begin with small decrees, but as each is demonstrated, faith enlarges until words spoken command vast supply. The journey of faith is the journey of mastery, each word spoken with belief a step closer to dominion. Faith is not static, it is dynamic, ever expanding, ever deepening, ever charging speech with greater power. Faith is the hidden alchemy that turns words into gold, thoughts into substance, decrees into manifestation. Without faith, words are dust, scattered by the wind. With faith, words are seed, planted in fertile soil, watered by conviction, certain to bear fruit. The mouth becomes a fountain of power, the tongue a scepter of command, the decree a living law. Faith is the essence that makes it so, the unseen force that breathes life into sound and makes the spoken word flesh. Wealth answers the call. Wealth is not distant, it is not deaf, it is not reluctant to appear. It listens, it waits, it responds. Every form of substance, every coin, every opportunity, every channel of prosperity is alive with vibration, and vibration answers vibration. Just as the echo answers the shout, so wealth answers the spoken decree. A man calls wealth with his words, with his tone, with his conviction, and wealth hastens to obey, for the law is unfailing. To believe that wealth ignores or withholds is to misunderstand the nature of supply, for supply is ever present, infinite, responsive, and ready. The delay lies not in wealth but in the call, not in substance but in the one who summons it. The call of wealth is not a cry of despair, but a decree of authority. To beg is to confess separation, to plead is to affirm lack, to complain is to command want. But to declare is to affirm union with the infinite, to speak as heir, to speak as master. Wealth does not respond to the groan of fear, but to the tone of certainty. When one says, "I hope money comes," the vibration is weak and scattered. When one says, "Money comes to me now, swiftly and easily," The vibration is exact and wealth answers. The law does not resist the command. It fulfills it, for it cannot do otherwise. Wealth answers the call because wealth is energy, and energy is obedient. The seed obeys the law of growth. The sun obeys the law of rising, the tide obeys the law of rhythm, and wealth obeys the law of the spoken word. Words spoken in faith carry the pattern that energy follows, just as blueprints guide the building of a house. The decree is the blueprint, and wealth builds itself according to the design spoken aloud. To speak with precision is to give exact design. To speak with vagueness is to give no design, and the result is confusion. Wealth answers with clarity when called with clarity. The call to wealth is not made once and abandoned. It is made continually, for every word spoken either calls wealth or drives it away. Speech is never idle, it always summons or scatters. To say, "I never have enough," is to call shortage. To say, "Everything I touch prospers," is to call abundance. Wealth hears every utterance and obeys. The mouth is the gate through which riches enter, or the barrier that keeps them shut out. To open the gate, one must speak wealth into being, call it with joy, summon it with conviction, and declare it with unwavering authority. Wealth answers because wealth is impersonal. It does not judge, it does not choose favorites, it does not hesitate, it flows where it is called. Just as rain falls on the field that is open, and not on the one that is covered, so wealth pours into the life that opens with decree and bypasses the life that closes with complaint. It is not fortune, not chance, not luck that determines wealth. It is the call. The man who calls in faith, in confidence, in precision receives. The one who doubts, delays, denies, or complains does not call, and therefore does not receive. Wealth is summoned not only by the words of the lips, but by the words of the heart. The decree must be clothed in feeling, for feeling intensifies vibration. To say, "I am rich," with trembling is to whisper faintly into the vastness. To say, "I am rich," with joy and conviction is to sound a trumpet, and wealth rushes to answer. The heart that rejoices in wealth, even before it appears, sends forth a mighty call, and the law responds with multiplication. Gratitude is one of the strongest calls, for gratitude assumes receipt, and assumption of receipt compels fulfillment. Wealth answers the call instantly, though it may appear gradually to the senses. Just as a seed begins its growth the moment it is planted, though the sprout may take days to show, so wealth moves the moment the decree is spoken. Unseen channels open, invisible forces align, opportunities stir. The senses may see delay, but spirit knows that fulfillment is already set in motion. To doubt is to uproot the seed. To persist in faith is to allow the harvest to appear. Every word spoken in conviction plants a seed of wealth, and every seed must bear fruit according to its kind. Wealth is not summoned from without but from within. The infinite supply dwells already in spirit, and the call merely opens the channel. To say, "I must wait for money from this source or that person," is to limit the call. To say, "I receive supply from the infinite through many channels," is to open all doors. Wealth does not depend on one employer, one business, one circumstance. It flows from countless avenues, guided by the decree. The call does not bind the infinite to a single channel. It allows the infinite to choose the swiftest, easiest, most perfect path. Wealth answers because it is already present. The gold is in the earth, the ideas are in the mind, the opportunities are in the field of life. The call does not create wealth, it reveals it. It does not make substance where there was none, it uncovers substance where it was hidden. Just as light reveals what darkness conceals, so the decree reveals what silence concealed. Wealth is never absent, only unseen, waiting for the call to bring it forth into view. Wealth answers with multiplication. It does not trickle in fragments but flows in streams. When the decree is spoken with power, wealth answers in ways greater than expected. A man may call for a small sum, but the law, knowing no limitation, answers with increase beyond measure. This is why one must guard the words of limitation. To call for just enough is to confine the flow. To call for abundance without measure is to allow the infinite to answer in fullness. The call sets the measure, and wealth answers according to the vessel presented. Wealth answers the call not only in money, but in every form of prosperity. It may come as ideas, as friendships, as opportunities, as health, as favor. All these are wealth, for wealth is fullness of life. To call for wealth is to call for wholeness, to summon harmony, to attract every form of good. The decree may speak of money, but the law answers with life overflowing. For money is but one garment of wealth, and true wealth wears many garments. The wise call not only for coins, but for abundance in all directions, and the law delights to answer in kind. Wealth answers the call because wealth is alive, responsive, and obedient. It is not static, not lifeless, not cold. It is living energy, divine substance, spirit in form. It responds to the vibration of words, just as water responds to the pull of gravity. It moves toward the decree, drawn irresistibly by the command of faith. Wealth hears the call, not as sound alone, but as vibration, as conviction, as authority. When the call is true, when it is exact, when it is clothed in faith, wealth cannot resist. It moves, it flows, it manifests. It fills every channel opened by the decree.